Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 549 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined, as always, by Stephen Kyle Brackey, the pride of West Virginia, repping a West Virginia shirt, and the pride of rock and roll, Ben Funky Askren, once again wearing an AC/DC shirt. It just keeps making its way to the top of the t-shirt pile, and he's back in black.
It's never gotten to the bottom. I just pick whatever on the top. You know, I only wear a few shirts. I've only left my house like 3 times in the last week or so.
Yeah, who cares?
Well, it's hard when you're on crutches.
Oh yeah, crutches. So you can't drive, I guess.
I don't see why I can't drive because it is my non-driving leg that was cut upon, and they said I have to wait 6 weeks, but I don't see why I can't drive. So
But you have not driven yet.
I've not driven. I'm debating it though, because obviously it's going to make my life. Yeah, I plan to take like 2 weeks off, but now moving forward, it's going to make my life significantly harder if I choose not to drive. And I don't really see a good reason why I shouldn't. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't. That one, I think 6 weeks seems like kind of a stretch, because if you can sit in a car, right, you're going to be able to sit in a car and stretch your legs out. Why not be able to just tap a little gas and brakes?
No. And I'm off pain meds. I haven't taken a pain med 36 hours, so I'm feeling good. So I'm not on that anymore. So they can't say, oh, well, you're on medication or something. So yeah, I don't see. I should be able to drive. Free Ben Askren.
All right, free Ben Askren.
Didn't you just get a truck?
You got a truck?
I just got a truck. Yeah, I was. You know what? I needed one for such a long time. I had to borrow so many trucks in the last, I don't know, year, 2 years, because we're building out the property. And finally, I'm like, this is effing stupid. I just need to get a truck, and I got rid of my Tesla, and I got a truck.
Sick.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really like it. I don't know why it took me so long.
Yeah. I that feels super necessary for someone with the property you have. Okay, so some interesting stuff popping up. We have a change in the Beat the Streets card. Bracky, you want to get into that briefly? Yeah, small change.
Felicity Taylor is out, and this can kind of maybe lead us into our next topic.
Yeah.
I want to pull up the quote from McKendree here, but she wrestles at McKendree, and they essentially said that they can't work out what's going on eligibility-wise. They said, we are disappointed to announce that Felicity Taylor will not be able to compete in the Beat the Streets event this Thursday. After seeking clarification on rules from at NCAA D2, we were unable to find a resolution for a competition outside our season's November 1st start date. Our apologies go out to Emily Shilson, an amazing opponent. We want to apologize to Beat the Streets organization. The problem was out of our control, extremely frustrating and heartbreaking.
Okay, so
this is interesting. I'm very curious. I don't know how deep you want to go with this, because there's a lot of effects it could have.
Yeah,
at this point in time.
Well, tremendous. I mean, there's another NCAA athlete competing at Beat the Streets, Yanni. And then also, how does this...
And another one. Multiple more.
Gable. Trent, Gable.
And Trent.
So, my question, and not only for this, and this is something we've talked about with NCAA rules for a while. It's like, the rules are different for every different school. And that's why Seth Gross can recruit or can go train with Real Woods, and every other coach can. Right? And what? Was that funny?
No, it was a Freudian slip.
You said recruit.
Oh, yeah. Got it, yeah. So that's why those things can happen, right? And so you think about it, and now it's happening here with McKendree and Felicity. And how will this also affect, is my question, senior nationals? Because the general carve-out that was designated for senior nationals is it needs to help you make a national team or a world team or something like that.
Correct. Yes.
That would not be the case for senior nationals. It doesn't qualify you for anything where you could make a national team.
They haven't canceled Senior Worlds yet, Christian, so why wouldn't it?
This isn't a qualifier or anything.
At this point, it is not
it's just a tournament.
What do you mean? I thought this was the qualifier for the Senior World Championships.
Only if they have a World Championships, and then they transition this tournament to the World Team Trials qualifier. As it is right now, it's just a tournament.
Just a tournament, and it doesn't help for Olympic trials. It doesn't have any import to anything down the line.
The only thing that it can do is if you take top 8 and you're a college wrestler, you earn an Olympic red shirt. That's the only thing it can do.
Yeah. So maybe for that reason, it earns the carve out.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously this is something we were thinking about, because when we did the event July 25th, it was like, okay, most schools start in late August, early September. You know, a lot of college kids were showing interest in wrestling in some type of pro event. And when we started looking through the NCAA rules, it's like, okay, well, they're out, right? I mean, it really very specifically says it has to be either in their season. So once they start the academic year, once they go to school, then before November 1st, the only thing they could do is, like you said, a qualifier for some type of world team and or world championships. And that was it.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to impact that, but I think it just illustrates a broader problem in wrestling, is that we are, as a sport, really beholden to a couple organizations that we're so reliant on, and they just don't care about us at all. Like the NCAA does not care about wrestling, right? They don't. They write
well, in
these.
That case, Christian,
They write these rules with basketball and football in mind, not with. And that's what Nomad was talking about, and it's true. There's no reason, with everything that's going on, for there to be some sort of restriction about these guys competing and getting wrestling. But there's a big organization that governs all these different sports, and wrestling is never going to rise to the level of them having great interest in, because it doesn't move their bottom line. So they only have 9.9 scholarships because they just don't care. Meanwhile, football's got how many?
FBS has 85 scholarships.
85 scholarships, right? And
why is it just 10? So annoying.
Yeah. I mean, why? So many questions.
Those are full too. You can't split those.
You can't split the football one. So they have 85 full rides every on their team. And so you got the NCAA, and then you've got the IOC. They cut us initially, and then they take away weights. Now we go from how many now down to 6 per event, and they don't care about us either. Yet they are 2 pinnacles for our sport, right? And something we are very reliant on as a sport, and it's beholden to.
Yes,
that is not good. That is good. And if you want to be in control of our destiny, we can't be beholden to things that don't care about us, that will drop us right?
F the man, we don't need them.
And the NCAA, they don't want these guys to get paid. They don't want these guys to make money. They want to limit when they can compete, when it has nothing to do with anything else. They just want all this control, and this control doesn't lead to any benefit to wrestling.
That's why I fight the man, Christian. That's why I'm a rebel over here. I can't stand these people. Yeah, they clearly don't care about us, and that's why, I mean, one of the main passions in my life, and something I failed at twice, and something I will keep trying to do for as long as I can do it, is some type of professional wrestling organization, because that would be then a league that is controlled by us, for us. And, it's going to look out for, obviously it's in everyone's best interest to look out for the own best interest of the league, right? And the NBA would look out for the best interest of the basketball players, because it only makes sense. And that's kind of what wrestling is, because you are right. The NCAA, the IOC, they don't really care. And, if you get enough power, if you get big enough and strong enough, for example, in 1992, the IOC bent the knee to the Dream Team. Right, that's what they did, because the Dream Team had enough power, and the IOC is mainly driven by money, and they wanted the basketball players there. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of my driving factors of why I want to see the pro thing happen so bad.
Yeah. It's one of the many changes that would benefit wrestling. But and
it's not gonna be easy. Obviously, people don't like giving up their power. It won't be easy at all. It will be very, very, very difficult to get there. But but I think it's something that we can accomplish. I don't know how long it's going to take, but over the course of time.
Correct. Bracky, thoughts?
I don't know. I think a lot of people thought the NCAA was going to lose a lot of power when the pandemic started, and then a bunch of these football conferences were like, "We don't need you. We're going to play no matter what you say." But I mean, now it's just like all the conferences are playing, and they're still the NCAA didn't do anything to fight back on it, so I guess they're still cool with that.
Because they don't have the power, right? It's a power thing. What are they going to do? I mean, what do they do to those schools? They just the NCAA needs them as much as they need the NCAA in this,
100%.
case.
Yeah. But by the way, Big Ten football is coming back.
I heard. Are you
October
so excited?
24th?
I don't really
October 24th.
That's right.
Wow. That's a little close to it.
And it's really funny now that the case is relatively speaking, and I don't believe the hospitalizations are coming with it, but the case numbers in the Midwest are up fairly significantly, and yet they're still making this decision. And so it's to me it's pretty apparent that it's a financially based decision.
Well, they are going to have they're going to have daily testing, so they feel very confident that they will be able to keep everything controlled within. It might be up within the general population at your school, but if you can keep the football players,
they'll just give them fake tests. Simple.
I really don't think they're going to do that.
Fake tests,
and you've already, and I know.
Possible.
I know.
Okay, the NFL is doing fake tests, Bracky. How does the NFL have 0 positive tests? They're definitely doing fake tests.
I don't believe they're doing fake tests. They have had positive tests.
How do they got 0?
These guys first
right now
because a lot of them already had it. Because a lot of them already had it. When they reported training camp, they're putting guys on COVID lists like crazy. I think you're a crazy conspiracy theory guy if you think they are faking these tests. And if you look at the college football reports every single week, there's teams missing double-digit guys every single game. Like they're not faking these tests.
Okay, well if they're getting 0 like the NFL is, them are some fake tests. I gotta tell you that much.
Now Ben the cynic.
It's just like it's like the NCAA drug test. Why does no one fail? Well, it's clearly a fake test.
That is definitely a fake test, or they only test for they only test
now
for like.
Is a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Not conspiracy theorists. It's just literally impossible that these guys would never. Any test at the NCAA. There's got to be someone at some point. Maybe they only test for like heroin or something. I don't know. They bust football players every now and again.
Yeah, and Clemson players we talked about got in trouble a few years ago right before the
was that their
playoff.
Test? Was that NCAA test or Clemson test?
It was NCAA test.
Okay. Busted.
Yeah.
Okay. What else was I going to say?
I just don't believe the NFL is faking these tests. I don't.
I know what I was going to say.
Come on, bro. Hey, let me ask this. So how long does the season run? Are they doing really like a shortened season so they get done by January 1st, or what is their plan here?
I don't know. I don't think they laid out the full competition schedule. They're returning the weekend of October 23rd to 24th. They talked a little bit about how they're going to be doing the daily test. So I'm sure more details will come out in the next few days.
Got it.
Other thing, it's just us being controlled by institutions that don't care about us. So these teams are trying to practice, right? And they're not able to. College teams trying to practice, trying to train, trying to be wrestlers, and you've got these schools or the conferences or whoever it is, institutions we can just call them, saying no, you can't do it on campus. But there's this RTC carve out where basically if you have the RTC, if these athletes are RTC eligible, you can have RTC practices, right? But if your RTC practices on campus, you have to move the site. So what these teams have to do is leave. They say, okay, this is now an RTC practice, and we have to move it to a crappy facility. We have this nice facility on campus where all the kids go and live, and now we have to take them someplace else, away from everything, away from a safer training environment where they can spread the guys out, and instead they have to go to these crappy places, all because these institutions, these people that don't care about us, that don't care about wrestlers, that don't care about wrestling, are trying to cover their own you-know-whats and avoid any sort of liability whatsoever. And all the liabilities, they're just putting the athletes in more jeopardy.
Yes, because they don't really care. It's just
they don't care.
You know, the one you want to hear the one that got me the most fired up this summer, Piles?
Tell me.
Okay, so I will not name said high school, but this high school program, he was complaining because he was going to come take one of our. This is too fast. It might take a few minutes here. He was going to take his group to wrestle at one of our academies and do like a little mini camp with his team, right? And the AD said, "Well, I'd really be more comfortable if there was more than one team." And the coach said, "Well, that doesn't really make any sense because that would just increase the amount of people there, which that would increase the chances of someone getting sick." And the AD says, "Yeah, but it wouldn't be as scary for me." It's like, well, these kids are already around each other anyways. And so the AD was letting them rent the vans, which they would all ride together in 50 passenger vans. They were letting them stay together, but they couldn't wrestle if it was just their team. So they had to cancel. Okay. Then at same school, Christian, if they were doing high school basketball, official high school basketball practice, they could not touch each other. They couldn't pass. They couldn't do anything like that. Uh-oh. Brecky's taking off. I'm boring him.
Listen, I'll explain a little bit. You keep going.
Okay. All right. So they couldn't touch anyone, right? It was a non-contact practice. Okay, Christian? Well, the same exact school had a AAU team right after that was made up of the exact same high schoolers, and they could have the full contact practice.
That makes no sense.
So it was like they had to fake like they were not having contact during their high school team practice, but then as soon as the AAU practice started, they could just do whatever the hell they wanted. So dumb.
Yeah, that's.
Where the hell did Kyle go?
So Kyle had to go because we had so Wednesdays are back at Flow, and we have breakfast tacos on Wednesdays now. But here's the thing:
you guys didn't get many breakfast tacos?
Come on, if you would just move here, this would be all. I would make it so that we had breakfast tacos every day, Ben. But you're hell bent on turning Wisconsin into the greatest wrestling state, so go ahead and do that while we eat breakfast tacos. So what happened is, the problem is there's not a lot of people that come in anymore. No. So there's no one to let the guy in. So Melissa hit up Kyle, was like, "Hey, can someone let this guy in?"
And then as soon as I got out there, Manuel let him in.
Manuel was all over it.
And someone better serve you guys some breakfast tacos, though, for real.
Yeah, this is a concern. I said, "Hey, we need to make sure someone stashes a couple for us." And normally that would be Spay, but Spay's on his way to beat the streets. Mm-hmm. So we got we could be in big trouble here, Bracky.
Yeah.
Enough about our problems.
We're in trouble.
Enough about our problems.
So we were just kind of complaining about how essentially bureaucratic organizations just they're not really trying to solve the issue. They're just trying to get it off their own plate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Sad but true. Super 32 announcing their new location today.
They did
tonight.
Oh, I thought you were telling me where it was.
They're announcing tonight.
Yeah, they're announcing.
What do you think the most likely location is? Because I would be biased. I really want it in the Midwest, so it makes travel a little easier. Greensboro is not real easy to get to. I think we've only flown into Greensboro one time. Lots of times it's Raleigh or Charlotte because they're much easier flights. Mm-hmm. So it's not the easiest situation for us in Wisconsin to get to Greensboro. Where do you think they're going to have it? You guys
zero inside information, zero knowledge. Just as I considered what makes sense, I thought, what if they had it in the Atlanta area? Good hub. It's still in the South. But that was my question.
Georgia really open?
What's Georgia's situation right now? I don't know.
Yeah. Because I know it's just speaking broadly, the Midwest has been more open than other states. So I don't know what Georgia's status
I connected. Is Chicago or Illinois getting crushed right now?
Illinois is done. They're done. We've had 7 guys from Illinois join our club because they might not have anything.
Yeah.
Literally no sports. They're not.
I flew into Midway and it was like I was in a completely different place. They were wild. Freaking out there. It was way more restricted and how it was all spaced out, and what you had to do to get on the plane wasn't like any of the other flights. And I haven't really been paying attention to the whole I don't know the different regions as well as I did when it was happening.
I think Myrtle Beach is in play too.
Myrtle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Myrtle Beach is hosting. Myrtle Beach is actually, Michigan's been shut down. Their governor's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So the Grappler Fall Classic is generally in Michigan. That's a great tournament. We've been a couple of times. I was really planning on taking a bunch of kids this year. And it's not too far of a drive for us. It's 4 or 5 hours, whatever. And they moved that to Myrtle Beach. That's the weekend of October 3rd. So obviously Myrtle Beach is open. And it's so funny because North Carolina is not open, right? And then you go across the border, and South Carolina is like, whatever, come on down. It's freaking wild.
I want to go to Myrtle. Myrtle's great. You ever been to Myrtle, Ben?
Yeah. You know what? I think I've been there once. Not for very long, just kind of stopped through. But it is quite a drive. I looked at it. It's probably not very drivable. I think it's 16 or 17 hours from where I'm at.
Yeah, Ben.
Not good.
Would you drive to Greensboro?
We've had people drive. I have not driven to Greensboro. But we have had people drive to Greensboro if they want, save some money. If flights can get, it's funny because there's not a lot of flights that go, say Raleigh or whatever. So once we have, say, if we have 15 people in our group, once the first 10 book, the prices go up, right? And then it's, I had one idiot. I think it was O'Toole. He's a dummy. He didn't listen to me one year. His dad got so mad because Keegan kept waiting, and then by the time he bought his ticket, it was like $700.
Oh my gosh!
Because I told him to do it in like August or whatever, and he kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and did it end of September or something. It was like $700.
At least he won, right? That's good.
I don't know if it was the year he won or not. I'm not sure which year it was. Oh man,
speaking of Boo Boo's booking flights, for last week. I booked 2 one-way tickets because I was flying into Charlottesville, but out from Raleigh. So I used 2 different airlines, and I booked them both on the same day, the 14th. So, when I went to check into my flight on the 7th, I was like, why can't I check in? What's going on here? And I booked them both on the same day. So
there you go.
That was a pretty spicy flight I booked the day before I left to Charlottesville.
Is it expensive?
Virginia. Yeah, it was like with the change, it was like $500.
Change fees. You should only fly Southwest because the other airline change fees are such shenanigans. So annoying.
Shenanigans. The flight back was Southwest, but unfortunately the other one wasn't. So
another update from the Big Ten.
Let's go.
Big Ten Network tweeted updates regarding fall sports other than football, as well as winter sports that begin in the fall, including men's and women's basketball, men's ice hockey, men's and women's swimming and diving, and wrestling will be announced shortly. So we should get some clarity into what they plan on doing for wrestling here shortly as well.
This is good
stuff.
How
shortly? Is this meaning while we're on our podcast right now, we're going to get some live updates?
I bet it would mean today.
I don't know about that, but I would, I think today at some point.
By tomorrow.
Yeah, by tomorrow.
By tomorrow's show. I hope to have another announcement by tomorrow.
It would have been, I was almost thinking, Christian, just hear me out here. We could almost move Thursday's show to Friday so we could actually talk about Beat the Streets results and not have it be 6 days later. You know what I'm saying? I was really wishing, first I was wishing that Beat the Streets was on a Wednesday, so then it would happen tonight, and then tomorrow morning we could just discuss everything that happened, because we don't get to talk about real wrestling all that often. And then I thought, maybe we could move the show. But anyways, that's just kind of a live on air.
I don't hate that.
I don't know.
Because we would have to wait all the way to Tuesday. Talk about it.
Yeah, it would be a long time. I mean, it's a long wait. That's 5 days.
All right, I'll hey, we'll see. I'll check with Tyler, our producer, and LJ. Maybe we
might have to you might have to kick someone out of the studio.
No one's doing a show on Friday morning.
You don't think so?
No.
Tyler says we can do a special show Friday.
Boom, Tyler, he's the man.
Really? How'd you get the answer that fast?
He's listening. He's just slacking us. Dude,
this guy,
let me pulls up articles I wrote in 2014 that I couldn't find in 2 minutes.
He's good.
He's better than what is damn Joe Rogan's guy? I was cracking up the other day because Joe Rogan and Jamie, they got in kind of an argument almost on air. I can't remember if it was the Ben Shapiro podcast or the Tim Kennedy one. And it was because Jamie was, essentially saying, hey, I can't pull that up or something. And Joe's like, come on, pull it up. And, then he had to say well, hey man, if we pull this footage up, we actually can't air it. We'll get sued or, we can't use someone else's footage. We don't have the rights to it. And it came down to that. It was really funny.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Tyler tells us that sometimes too.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, we really shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
We don't.
We're like,
have rights to that.
fine.
We're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
We're almost as big as Rogan.
We're getting there. I mean, we were the OG. We were the podcast kings of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we were here first.
Yeah. We kind of started it. And
Even before Alex Jones. I don't think you were before Alex Jones.
no,
I don't know about that.
No,
but-
we predate Alex Jones for sure. So yeah, and also they basically ripped off our studio. Joe Rogan did, and made it look exactly like ours.
It looks exactly like this.
It's like a carbon copy. It's like he didn't even try to make it look original. It is interesting now that he's here. I'm curious what, if anything, will change about that. But he's a phenomenon. Who's gonna be? Are we gonna see more famous people in Austin? It would require us like going other places than our houses at Flow Sports. But
yeah, California's dumpster fire. So obviously Rogan moved his show. Did you see that? The Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's, I don't know if it's his company or if he just works for them, but they moved to Nashville. All 75 employees.
Really?
From
You don't live in California anymore? Why would you?
They just
why
announced.
would you live
They
there?
just announced their move yesterday. I don't know why
wow.
you moved. They had rolling blackouts. Yeah, it's not good.
So are we gonna do
hey,
a show tomorrow or no tomorrow and then Friday?
I think we go no tomorrow and then Friday if you
What?
guys are down for it.
I'm down for.
What?
I'm down for both. Well, we can figure that out.
Okay, we'll discuss it. Hey, I want to ask you guys what you think. So my event this weekend, it's going to be unique, because we are hosting it at our practice facilities because we didn't want to get canceled. We didn't want to get kicked out of any high schools, which obviously, like, if we were actually holding it at a high school and Wisconsin's cases were kind of going up this week, I'd probably be crapping my pants that we're going to get kicked out for sure.
They are going up this week.
And I think it's because they tested all the college students, but that's just my perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think people are going to, there's going to be no fans there. 0 fans are allowed in. Only wrestlers, table workers, referees, and coaches. Do you think I think like maybe the coaches will love it and they'll always want to come back, or maybe they'll be like, that was kind of wild, and I guess we did it once because of Corona, but we'll never do it again. What do you think they're going to?
What aspect? The aspect of no fans?
But no fans, and it's in it's kind of a condensed environment. It's not like we have stands, and people can go sit in the stands. It's a wrestling facility.
Yeah, I think they'll probably love it if they're getting good matches in a condensed period of time. It's enjoyable. A little less BS. I think they'll probably like it. I don't know.
No fans,
it's up to you, Ben. Make it an enjoyable experience. I'm
gonna try to do my best. I think we got everything like lined up. I got extra workers. I think we're like in a really good spot.
You should get it catered by Applebee's.
Well, Funky Fresh actually would be my catering, but people these days, the Karens. You don't know about Funky Fresh spring rolls? Oh my gosh! I'll put it in the doc.
Did you make this up?
Buddy okay, so my buddy Truman started a company. I don't know, a whole bunch of years ago. Let's say 2014, maybe he started 2015, somewhere around there. They're the most delicious things ever. Kyle Snyder actually has the record because he ate 19 of them in one sitting, which I can't even tell you guys how many that is. It's completely obnoxious.
19 rolls.
So he's got.
Is that like a sushi roll?
No, it's a spring roll.
Oh, like
I just put it in the doc. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So, everyone. So Jake Herbert has like paid my man Truman to send him rolls to Michigan. Like that's how much people love them. So he created this company, and we had the Funky Fresh scrambling camps, and we still do. And he said, "Hey, I like that name because my rolls are unique, and we make them fresh from scratch. I kind of want to steal your name." And I said, "Okay, fine. If you let me invest, if you need an investor sometime, you let me invest. Then I'll let you steal my name." And so he stole my name, and then a couple years later, he said, "Hey, I think it would be a good time." So then I put some money into it, and he's crushing it. He's doing a great job.
Dang! Now I really want some.
Yeah.
Dang spring rolls.
They're so good. Oh my gosh.
Buffalo chicken, Kale's Chicken Club. Yeah.
Buffalo chicken and kale's the best one ever. So he's got the core 4, and then he makes other ones. There's some other really, really good ones that he makes sometimes.
Okay, so this could keep the coaches coming back. You can always tell the tournaments that care is how many moms do they get involved making the food, or do they just order Subway sandwiches? That's a big thing. So now the spring rolls could definitely help. But if these teams show up and the 4,000 Askren teams just thump on them, they might not want to come back.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We have 4 teams in the event. Some of the other teams are really good though. We did seeding points. The top 6 teams all have they're really really close with the seeding point criteria we put out.
Why don't you share? You should share all that information with us. We could post all this. Put that information.
Well, I'll tell you what I did for seeding criteria. I did in category 1, you had state champ, state placer, state qualifier, and you got a point value for that. And you had to pick your highest, right? So if there's a state champ, that'd be the highest value. You pick that point number. Mm-hmm. Category 2, the other big tournaments, UWWs, Fargo, USA Focus on Nationals, NHSCA, and you got a point value for that. You add them together, you get the points for your athlete. And then, it's good.
You should give us
the
that.
top 6. The seeding values.
Yeah, we see all the seeded guys. Right, we don't know all the who's the.
Well, whatever. I didn't make the teams. I didn't. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So you got Facundo.
Facundo's coming. Izzy's been a slacker. I've not seen it. I could check right now. As of yesterday, he's bringing 2 teams, but he hadn't put his team in yet. He's kind of being slow for me, but I think he's bringing a really good team. The Southern Illinois Regional Training Center, they got a really good team. Jeff Jordan's got a really good team. So we have some really good teams coming.
I see Jeff Jordan is borrowing some Parkersburg boys.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Gavin Kiocho, he's in the rankings too. He goes to Parkersburg South.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. It's kind of whatever because I want my guys to get really good matches. So I'm not going to get too offended. But at the same time, it's there's literally not one guy on any of our teams that is not a member of our academies. And that was, kind of what we would preferred. And I think that's going to be true with Donahoe and Izzy and some of the other teams. But I know Southern Illinois, I know they got Dean Hamidi on their team, who's really highly ranked nationally. And he does not live in Southern Illinois. I know that much. So maybe they got some guys.
I like NHSCA duels a lot. I think it's really cool.
I hate them.
Well, listen, but I would like to see a small, legitimate club duels thing. I think that would be cool. Like the best Askren team, the best Young Guns, the best Pinnacle, best Izzy, and legitimately, I don't know how you can fully vet and verify that no one, but I think you'll know if any ringers come in, right? That would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's obviously some teams it's obvious when they have kids from 7 different states, right? That's impossible. But yeah, I mean, obviously, say a New Jersey and Pennsylvania club, they could have some of the same kids because they border each other. I would have to think there'd be some way. I mean, obviously, coaches being honest would be a good start.
That does help. That's why if you do it 4, even if it's just 8 teams, right? 8 of the best clubs.
Yeah, well, we had some other teams coming that were really good, and unfortunately, they kind of canceled last. Seabolt canceled, Greater Heights out of Kansas City, and Simmons all canceled. I don't want to say last minute, but kind of fairly recently, which is, it's unfortunate. That would have made the event extremely, extremely tough because that's kind of I couldn't get Pinnacle to commit, but besides them, that's kind of all the best teams in the Midwest.
Yeah, wonder why.
Could they just not get enough kids to do it right now?
I think that was Greater Heights is they didn't get enough guys to commit. It's a weird time to wrestle, September, but for me, it was we never usually ever wrestle in September, but we also didn't. We usually wrestle in March and April, and May and June and July and August, and we didn't wrestle at all. So it's for us, we need to get our guys some really good matches and for national level competition. So that was our way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're excited for real. Share that seating stuff. We'll do something with it.
So I didn't have them individually seed. Give me all their individual points. I just had to give me your total. I trust you guys to be honest, gentlemen.
They did it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm not gonna research all their guys. It's gonna take a lot of time.
Okay, that's what I thought you did. I was like, holy cow.
No, heck no. I mean, doing my own 4 teams is hard enough. It's because I have a good idea of where my guys finished or but I'm okay, I don't want to mess this up when the kid took second at state and he really took first. I knew, I don't really want to. For that many kids, it's kind of hard to pay attention.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wanna transition to some questions or what?
Do we have anything else? Let's see. Oh, there was one match I want to ask you if you think I'm just totally crazy for thinking it might be competitive.
Okay, hit me.
And I meant to bring it up yesterday. Patelio.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Zane. What? Well, here's
one.
my reasoning. For some, I don't put Patelio on the same level of Jason Nolf, but for some reason, he always wrestled Jason Nolf really, really, really tough. And it was always a really competitive match. And so that's like, I know Zane and Jason aren't the same guy, but they have, in my opinion, similar styles, similar strengths. Like, I think it could be a good match.
I think freestyle helps Patelio. Now, I'm pretty sure he only has destroyed him when they've wrestled, like, brutally bad. He pinned him. When? He pinned him twice, I believe. He pinned him at Big Tens. He pinned him in a duel.
Yeah, when he was at when Patelio was at 149, but then to me it seemed like Patelio really kind of, and whether he was cutting too much weight or what his issue was, he seemed to get a lot better when he bumped up to the next weight class.
I think folk style versus freestyle is a huge help for Patelio. I think he's got that. He's going to be tough for Zane to get to for a little bit, but I think ultimately Zane's pace and things are just going to open up for him. And yes, he did wrestle Nolf tough, but I think stylistically Nolf and Zane are really, really different. And Nolf's ability to kind of get his doors blown off every now and again and just get plowed through, and I think the difficulty he had breaking through Patelio's head hands, I don't see that problem for Zane. And while I don't disagree, and I knew you were going to say that one, I'm not there yet. I think it's probably like I think Patelio gets one. Patelio gets a takedown, and I think Zane being surprisingly limited parterre offense, and by limited I mean,
how is Zane not a beast on top yet? It's kind of weird, right?
Look at how he got his turns in folk style. He'd get on top. He'd establish the ride. It'd be like it was very rare he would go take down right into a turn or take down to something else. It was like,
but to me, it was just because he was so freaking powerful. I mean, like when you look at Zane on top, you don't think, oh, this guy's, he's not smooth, right? He's just freaking powerful. And pulling a leg lace together or squeezing a gut wrench, like that's a powerful thing. And, it's going to maybe take you a little bit to develop some nuance to it. But if you could put the level of power that Zane had behind it, you could just really crush people on top.
I don't disagree. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be really good on top. I just don't. Yeah. We haven't seen. I think there's been other. Logan Stieber. He was a transcendent top wrestler in folk style, and he was more of a takedown guy in freestyle. He wasn't getting a lot of turns, so it just doesn't always necessarily translate to being. And there's very few guys that are really, really good on top in freestyle. Whereas in folk style, there's a lot of guys that are really good. Like, who are the elite top wrestlers in the country in freestyle?
In America.
Right? You think Dake,
Joe
Colon, Burroughs is good on top.
Yes. But Burroughs is relatively transitional, right? He's got a great transition from a leg lace, right, into take down into a leg lace.
He's got guts. He's got a trap arm that he'll hit. That he hit on Dake. That he's hit on other guys. I think he's got decent diversity. But like Kyle Snyder is, in general, been relatively disinterested.
Barely ever scores.
Right? It's just like, let me get back up on my feet so I can take this guy down again.
So let me look at this. Hold on. I'm looking. So remember I had all that scoring stuff?
Dayton would be up there. He's definitely one of our best top wrestlers.
Okay, so total, let me see. I'm going to add up the points. Yeah, so I mean, total, it's like, let's see, this is 150, that's 700, 800, 1100, 1200. So I remember lost.
You just start saying numbers like Rain Man. What are you adding?
Well, you don't know what I'm looking at here. That's
Right.
why I can't put it on your screen. Okay, remember I did the technique projects where we scored every move that happened at the World Championships.
Yes.
We did two men's World Championships. We did one women's World Championship, and we did one U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they were all. So we did. It was 100 and I think it was 17 matches. So it was a round of 16 on and the place matches. I believe what we did.
Right.
So it was roughly 170 matches because it would be 17 a bracket is what I think it was. And so I went back to look at the scoring, just to get a perspective. And from this quick math here. Well, actually, I could just do this sum thing. Hold on, sum, boom. Hold on, L2. You guys love my Google Sheets skills.
I love it. We're getting it in real time.
L2 to L9. Okay, so we got 1,400 points scored in the neutral position at the world at those 170 matches. And on parterre, we have, let's see, L11 through L14. We only have 240. So, yeah, I mean, you're scoring, 6 times as many points in the neutral position as you are on top bottom. And so maybe that's, obviously it's going to be skewed heavily. And that's at the World Championships, right? So it's not even American-based. And all four, both World Championships, the U.S. Open and the women's, were really relatively similar. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge discrepancy between how many points are scored in neutral versus top bottom. Maybe what that says is there needs to be, if you want to value mat wrestling, there needs to be more points scored on the mat because they're not valuing mat wrestling pretty much barely at all.
I think it's just harder to do.
Yeah, it's hard because of the rule set, maybe because they blow them up too fast, or there could be other reasons, obviously.
Yeah, I like the amount of time they get on top. I think it's about right. 20 seconds down there is kind of a different scenario. I think neutral wrestling is just in general more exciting. But yeah, I mean, I was just more referring to the transition of elite folk style top to freestyle top is definitely not very correlated. It was in your case, Ben, but I think there's a lot of examples. And there's guys like Joey McKenna, who I would say was not uber elite on top in folk style. He's more of a rider. He's got an incredible gut wrench, right? Yeah. So it just doesn't always translate evenly. So I don't know what to make of it. I think if Zane, parterre offense is just, it can be such a differentiator if your takedowns are worth 4 points, right?
Every single time, yep, for sure. I mean, that's such a huge deal. But it is, and I know because obviously I wrestled freestyle wrestling for, so let's say when I got good around the year 2000, and then I wrestled for roughly a decade, and it really varied. I want to say almost year by year of how much time they were going to give you on top, right? Sometimes it would be like, boom, really fast. Some years they would say like the bottom guy couldn't grab hands. Like when that year happened, boom, it was over. I was gut wrenching everybody. And they would give you kind of a whole bunch of time.
Yeah.
So that for at least when I was wrestling, and I don't think it's really changed that much right now. But when you're a spectator, you don't notice the small changes as much. That the extra 3 to 5 seconds, which make a difference. And then when you're a competitor, you really notice those really, really small changes.
Yeah, they can make a big difference.
Yes.
Okay. Questions? Want to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it up. Okay.
Yeah. Kozak's mad because you didn't say David Taylor was good on top. And
yeah, he's very good on top at both. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, is there anyone else I'm missing that I'm gonna get yelled at about? Also, you didn't say David Taylor. Neither did Stephen Kyle Brackey. So
yeah,
we're just gonna blame it on you though.
Wow.
Yeah, that was me.
Daniel Dennis.
Okay, he's sort of retired. Tyler Graff's pretty good on top.
Tyler Graff was good on top for sure.
And he had a lace and a gut, and had a gut both ways, and I think he had a trap arm. That guy has.
There's very few people who could do lace and gut really well. I mean, I know for myself, when I was able to get good at a gut wrench, it was like, well, I'm just going to spend time refining that because I can score so many points there, as opposed to have to start all the way over with a leg lace.
Yeah, for sure. Gwiz is another guy who's very good at folk style top, doesn't get a ton of turns in freestyle.
No, barely any.
Okie doke. Arizona wrestling fan, does Kirk Fleet wrestling at this upcoming event mean that he will for sure redshirt this year? I don't know.
Well, that would be another guy where we were saying earlier in the show about college guys being able to compete.
My thought is in general that Penn State's going to redshirt a bunch of their dudes.
Yeah.
I think we're not going to see many of them wrestle. Actually, I know that there's teams that looked into that. Hey, how's the Kirk Fleet? Like, hey, how's he able to do this? Okay. These good teams have these coaches are looking. The coaches of other teams are looking like, hey, how's this happening? And asking. I think he's not fully enrolled or something like that, which
really
could indicate he's taking an Olympic or something like that. I don't think we're going to see anything close to a full strength Penn State team this coming year.
Well, that's what I was thinking with and possibly Yanni also is with the Olympic shirt. If you're able to get that, you're not going to enroll in school. Definitely not full time. Maybe you can take a couple credits, but not all that much. So with when the rule states when you start your academic year, you can't compete. You can't compete in anything but a world thing. So if you actually didn't start an academic year because you're an Olympic redshirt, would that make a difference?
Yeah, I don't know the difference, and I've also heard like really different things about Olympic red shirts in terms of what classes you can and can't take. Because when Dayton took his, John Smith was like he's allowed to take some classes, and then I was talking to someone yesterday, and they said, well, we can't take an Olympic unless we don't want to take classes again, right? And be 25 when we graduate. So the NCAA is just so they're preposterous. Preposterous. So, hey, and you don't know probably anything about this, but there's a sport called basketball, and at the end they play the playoffs. And so we had the Clippers and the Nuggets, and the Clippers were up 3-1 in a best of 7, and they lost 3 straight games, including a game 7. They were winning in the third quarter, and they lost. They were down by 20 by the time the fourth quarter.
The two previous games, the Nuggets were down 16 and 19 and came back and won those.
Meltdowns.
Meltdowns, total choke jobs. And, they have 2 great players, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who scored 0 points in the fourth quarter of a game 7. So wow. It's just a total break stick, choke job, whatever you want to call it. And everyone is laughing hysterically at the Los Angeles Clippers right now. So the question was posed, what was the biggest choke job by a wrestler or a team?
Well, that's easy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Chris Heinrich.
Oh.
That was a big one, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I certainly remember that one. But
he was up 9-1
You
or
also
something.
are a Virginia guy.
I'm a Virginia guy, yes. However, I love Jay Borschel. He's an awesome guy. I wasn't mad at that. And also, it's like it wasn't the most tremendous comeback. I mean, Montel Marion, Jimmy Kennedy was one. But here's my thing. When you talk about a choke job, I'm talking about there's such a departure from your ability to your performance. So where you should be, so hold on, where you should be performing should be a level 9, let's say it. And you put on a level 5 performance, not because of injury or something else, but it's
so you want to discount it because they got tired. You're trying to discount it like a move.
I'm trying to discount it.
Musakayev didn't melt.
No, I'm trying. Yeah, Musakayev didn't choke. His body couldn't perform. Chris Heinrich, maybe his body couldn't perform. And also, Chris Heinrich is not that much better than Jay Borschel. Jay Borschel was the favorite probably in that match. Jay Borschel was undefeated going into that. Okay. Yeah, but we're talking about. He had a slow start. He got taken down. He got turned, and he got turned again. And then he got out, and he got a couple takedowns and riding time. Right? It wasn't like this tremendous. It wasn't like he was down 13 and came back. I think he was down 7 or 8. I think
that's a lot of points in a wrestling match, Christian.
Okay, here's the biggest choke job ever. When you talk about ability and performance, Dan Gable, Larry Owings,
Oh,
that was a
there you go.
psychological. I mean, Gable talks about it, right?
Yeah,
This was
you're
not.
right, you're right.
He's not as good. And look at what Gable went on to do. You want to talk about a departure from your actual ability? And he was worried about the cradle, and he got asked all these questions, and he had to say, "Come back and watch me win my 3rd national title," and all this stuff. And he's no one's talked about it more than him. That's the thing. That's a melt. That's the choke. And you can talk about Rob Roan, Josh Lambrecht, and that was tremendous. He was getting teched, right? And then he hit a mixer.
Yes.
I don't think he choked. I don't think that's a choke by Lambrecht, really. I think that's like.
What do you think of Lizak Gilman then?
He got exhausted. He was totally exhausted. This is a sport where your cardiovascular strength is a part of the sport. And Gilman had it, and Lizak didn't. And once he got tired, the ball got rolling mentally a little bit with Lizak? I would say probably yeah.
Oh, Brandon Scott got a good one for you, CP.
Oh, what?
He said, what about Greg Jones? Greg Jones, sophomore year.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what was going on then, right? I don't know why he didn't. He could have been something else. I mean, listen, Mac Lunas went 0-2 one year out of the 1 seed. Did he choke? I don't think so. I mean, Mac, things happen.
My brother.
Yeah, Max. Things happen.
But Greg Jones he didn't lose another match at NCAAs besides that year. I mean, that was why that one is so like, oh my gosh, he'd won an NCAA title previously.
I don't think he lost another match in his college career.
Well, how many matches did he lose in his college career?
3, I believe.
Goodness
3.
gracious.
So he had one. Yeah, he had 1 loss his freshman year, and then he had that performance, and then
that's what I was just saying. Like, it just goes to show like how out of character that performance was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's things like that.
He lost 4, 126-4.
That is an amazing career. Holy cow. So yeah, that's my thought. As far as a team choke job, I thought that was. I read this question, but I missed that word or team. I couldn't really come up with any.
Well, there was. I did that. Remember,
probably some.
I had those old charts of how guys performed according to their seed, and Minnesota had a couple really bad years, and Iowa had a couple really bad years.
Minnesota Dardanes. Oh boy.
Yeah, that year because they should have.
Oh, that was bad.
If they go even remotely close to their seeds that year, they're going to win the NCAA title.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Iowa had a couple of years where I thought they were going to win and didn't win, but I don't think that's a choke job. There's
yeah.
So yeah, Danny Mac, he's the man.
You nailed it. The Gable Owings was that. Yeah, that's number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
This is the man that asked the basketball question last week too, to compare the stars.
Oh really?
With wrestling stars.
I only
guy likes basketball too much.
Well,
you can like both.
Basketball's good. I've enjoyed basketball's return. It's been very helpful. I love watching sports, and there's not much wrestling. Okay, other questions. I want to know the answer to this question, not just Josh Collier. When will Kyle Brackey get a regular section for Alien Hour? This year we should be addressing more American myths, legends, horror stories. 2020 is it.
I guess I've been looking the past 2 weeks. I've looked for like a lot of recent stuff. But maybe for tomorrow's show, I'll just give you something good that maybe it's just like
spooky.
Something spooky.
We don't need it. I don't care if it's from 1802. It'll probably be cooler that way. They're all fake,
okay,
except for maybe the Demon House. The Demon House might.
That was very real.
That is.
What about the octopus in Oklahoma? I thought that was.
Well, we proved that one.
We already proved that.
I believe that one
real.
Immediately because it was Oklahoma, and of course they're throwing octopi into their lakes. That just makes sense to me. If Joe Exotic probably populated those lakes with his octopus. He probably dabbled with, should I have an exotic aquarium in Wynnewood, Oklahoma? And he probably tried it, and then he probably a tiger accidentally jumped in the shark tank. And he's like, well, I can't lose any shark or any tigers. So
speaking of. While we're on this subject, Carol Baskins made her Dancing with the Stars debut.
Oh, I'm so glad I missed that.
What?
I don't want to watch
a couple things. First of all, she had the lowest score out of anybody. She sucked.
She got cut. So she got cut.
She can't dance.
I don't know. She scored an 11 out of a possible 30. that you could score.
God.
Oh,
She
wow.
did some dance to Eye of the Tiger. But
No.
then, yeah.
Oh no.
But then,
oh no.
also during the show, a commercial ran in South Florida with all of Don Lewis's daughters, his ex-wife,
what?
and the assistant from Tiger King documentary being like, "Yo, we miss our dad. We want to know what the hell happened to our dad. If you have any information about Carol Baskins or Don Lewis, hit us up."
Who paid for that commercial?
I'm assuming the family. I'll send it to you.
Oh
It's
my
incredible.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So yeah, I think we should just punch in every Thursday. Rocky has to do an Alien Hour one way or the other. Just mandate
it. Should be more frequent. It should be more frequent than it is. I feel like
once a
maybe
week,
once a month.
Yeah.
He does it. Maybe not even.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. I still get questions all the time when Metcalf's coming out. It could be a troll at this point, but some of them I don't think they are.
No, because people ask these damn questions and they don't listen. They just
don't
expect
listen.
you to answer on Twitter.
Yeah.
No, that's not how this works.
Well, I did answer on Twitter. And
Well, you did that too, but yeah,
You
but
did.
that's not how
Yeah,
this
yeah.
works. When you ask for questions, we're going to answer them on the show.
I've said 23rd so many times. I don't know how many. But yes, Metcalf 23rd is coming out September 23rd. That's a week from today. Prepare yourselves. But this person says Metcalf film looks really good. Why hasn't there been a Bruce Baumgartner film? 14 straight world teams, 13 medals, 5 golds, and an AD for 20 years.
He needs. You know what I'll say about that is what I'll say. He needs. I tell my wife this sometimes. I need a scandal in my life. Every good athlete needs a good scandal, something around them. I don't have enough. I need some more scandal. Bruce needs some scandal to make his life more interesting. He just seems like a normal, great dude, and that's it.
And that's one thing. Like my boss and then the film guys are like, being good at something is not a story. It's not a film, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's got to be narratively someone being good and then winning is really tough to craft into something. That's it. Carrie Colat, there's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Terry,
Yeah.
Ben, Jaden.
Yeah.
Those are stories there. There's something to narrate. A guy being really good forever is tough, right? So
And there could be something with Bruce. It's just not my era,
sure.
so I don't know, right? I have no idea. I think he finished in 90. What did he finish in 96? Like I was 12 years old. I wasn't really watching wrestling at that point in time, so I have no idea what the story is. I mean, you guys kind of interwove him a little bit with the Edinburgh thing that you guys, the piece you did, a handful of years back. But besides that, I don't know.
Edinburgh, that's a story. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do something with Bruce Baumgartner. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying oftentimes I think we correlate someone being really good with they should have a documentary about them, where we should probably just do a cool piece about Bruce Baumgartner. But making a film is a really different thing. Matt Smith, what is your favorite age group to cover? High school, college, or senior level? Hashtag FRL questions. This is tough for me. I think ultimately what got me into becoming a psycho about wrestling was college wrestling, D1. Just loving that so much. But there's nothing like when we've got a world team and how into international wrestling I become when it's international wrestling season and when it's time for USA. The problem is I get to do and get really focused and lock in on USA versus the world basically one time a year. Whereas there's interesting collegiate matches every weekend. But so it would be international by a landslide if we got more, if we had the World Cup and then we had World Championships and there were other tournaments where we sent a lot of guys, but that's pretty rare. It happens maybe 3 times a year. So that makes it tougher because I just love rooting for America. That's just very fun for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. A college wrestling by a long shot. If there was better, coverage. Well, if UWW gave the damn coverage to Flow, it would probably be significantly better than what they have going on right now. Because, it's a disaster. hopefully you guys will be getting that soon, so I can watch more international wrestling. And then the other thing would be if they actually develop some type of like season where we could watch, and I complain about this all the time, but it's hard to follow said July when you see him twice a year, right? Some of the international guys you don't ever see them. Like, listen, if I watch college wrestling, I know I'm going to see Jason Nolf 30 times a year. I'm going to literally see him 30 and within a season, right? If he's obviously may see him more, but I can count on that. International wrestling, I mean, you might see said July twice. It's just not, it's unreliable.
Yeah, unreliable. Great words. Kyle Brackey.
It's college wrestling for me.
Big D1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's thoughts on Ed Ruth's loss this weekend and losing 3 of his last 5.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually, you know what? I almost periscoped it on this one. This is one guy that, I mean, Ed Ruth was as good as it got in college wrestling. I'm a big fan. And he, him and now Jake Rochelle obviously won 3 NCAA titles and wasn't a great fighter also. And to me, it's, I don't know. I don't spend time with the guy. I don't know if his work ethic is not there. I don't know what his deal is, but I sure thought, oh my God, this guy's going to be flipping amazing, and he hasn't panned out. That's, he's only 29, so that's not saying he's not going to pan out, but he definitely has not to this point in time. It's disappointing because I definitely thought he was going to. I thought he was going to be a superstar, and he's not yet.
So I have a couple thoughts. One, I don't know Ed at all, but what I know from people that have been around him is this dude is a crazy hard worker. Puts in time.
I've heard the same.
He puts in the time. 1. 2, I feel like in 2014, the conversation I was having with people about Henry Cejudo was kind of similar. And now he's the greatest combat sport athlete of all time, right? Debatably, sure, but very possibly. One was a UFC champion and an Olympic champion. And he was a UFC champion at 2 weights, right? Like that's pretty tough to compete with. And in 2014, it was like, this dude is not getting it together. He's missing weight. He's having all these problems. He wasn't winning all his fights like this. I remember sitting at a bar and talking with this guy. He's like, this dude, he was like considering getting into WWE because it wasn't working out with fighting. Okay. So my point there is it can shift. It can change. Right. And Henry's an outlier in so many ways, but that's what I'll hang on for Ed and say, you know what, if he continues to work hard, how does he not have the skills to be excellent at this?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, so, okay. So I went back to when you said that, I kind of remember feeling the same things because yes, Henry did miss weight a bunch. He pulled out of some fights and there was kind of really some sketchy stuff there, but at the same time, he didn't lose until he fought Demetrius. He won all of his fights. He did have a stretch, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight where he went to decision, and some of these guys are not really all that great that he went to decision with. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where he wasn't kind of blowing people out of the water or looking all that great. So there's some correlation there, but he definitely didn't have the losses. So Ed's getting subs still. I mean, like, especially when you think about Ed's style, and the fact that he's been submitted twice is like, and Neiman Gracie's relatively good on the ground, but the last guy, man, I was kind of shocked that happened.
He got submitted, right?
Yeah, he got heel hooked. It was relatively quick, and the guy that he fought this weekend, I don't believe had a really good record. I don't think he was that good.
Yeah, and I know that Ed does jiu-jitsu. He's entered like worlds, and he's a purple belt. He might be a brown belt now. Like, he had like good promise in jiu-jitsu as well. So he's clearly like, he's entering tournaments. He's dedicated to the craft. It's just I don't know, for whatever reason. Man, I wish he'd come back to wrestling, but I seriously doubt that.
Oh, it's too late to come back to wrestling now.
It's never too late, Ben. You wrestled Jordan Burroughs a year ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was a terrible idea. I kind of knew that going into it, but whatever.
Well, you get Sajalayev next year once the hips
yes.
all well.
Listen, no, you know what? Once my hip gets better, I'm making you guys give me a bum. And by a bum, I mean, like just like a regular Division I college All-American, someone I can go get out there and party on to redeem myself.
No problem. We'll give you Mike Mal or JD even.
Yeah.
No, I don't need someone. I it's got to be someone reasonable. Like, someone maybe top 10, like ranked like say 8, 9, or 10, and say the 79 kilogram rankings. Let me get out there and party on them a little bit.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
we'll make it a party in the USA. So, here's another question from Some Point Today. Interesting. Which collegiate wrestler has the biggest mainstream crossover potential? He said,
What does that mean?
I took it to mean who's someone that could go into another avenue and have, I would say, like MMA or
like a movie star, or like, are we
I don't
MMA?
know about movies. Just
right, because what drives mainstream success? I mean, like Daniel Cormier, if he wasn't a great fighter, is he going to be mainstream? And the answer is probably not. So for wrestlers, I mean, the obvious easiest path is fighting people because we're actually pretty good at it.
I think the reason he suggests even Gable in this answer is because they just had him on the Bader show, and he talked about like he's interested in MMA, but he's also interested in WWE, and he'd be interested in trying to play football. So I think he just like is asking like who could go to another walk of life and make a name for themselves and get well known.
Sure.
And like by people who don't know anything about wrestling.
I mean, obviously Gable would have a lot, like you said, he's got great options because you could put Gable in WWE, he'd be fantastic almost immediately, right? He's just got personality. You can tell he's got it. MMA, almost the same thing. So that, I mean, if you were talking that would be really easy to be like, if you're talking about movie star, I'm going Nick Suriano.
I was hoping you would say him.
Yeah. Nick or Gable. Like guys like Spencer and Yanni are just such wrestling purists. I just don't see them leaving wrestling. I don't want them to. Yanni and Spencer just wrestle and then coach, please. Okay, other questions. Let me look here. Have you picked up any new habits or routines while stuck in quarantine?
I don't think so.
Have you? I guess mine is I canceled both my gym memberships and
got an Ostarine
and reached the conclusion that I don't need them anymore and decided to
Decided to get fat.
I'm just gonna get out of shape like Mac and It's Always Sunny. I'm just gonna walk around with trash bags of burritos. That's probably it. I'm never gonna. Well, I won't say never. Certainly, probably might, but I'm probably not gonna rejoin the gym. Just gonna figure it out without. That's probably it.
Yeah, man, not a lot of great questions. Our friends need to pick it up a little bit. I was kind of looking through them.
That's okay.
Nothing I really loved.
They might have the quarantine blues. It's hard out here in these streets. Oh, are you checking something right now?
Nothing.
All right.
Bracky, we need some Super 32 news. We need some Big Ten news. Maybe some transfer portal news.
I think we're gonna have a show tomorrow, and I think it's gonna be good. So
we're doing a show tomorrow and Friday, or what?
When we asked the question, there were like 10 people immediately in the Facebook chat that said both.
Facebook. Are we gonna let Facebook govern our lives?
Well, if they want it, let's give it to them. We already planned to be here.
Yeah, we can have
morning.
We can have a more. Tyler's in. I think we should do it. And plus, tomorrow can be like a full Beat the Streets blowout show.
Right.
I'll try to come up with some more Beat the Streets related topics, so that we can defeat these streets.
We have betting odds, so maybe we can talk about the matches and go through what bet we would place on.
Yeah, because you got. Hey, no, listen. To end the show today, you two want me get up on that desk and do the push-ups.
I'm not getting on the desk.
Get on the desk and do the push-ups, Bracky.
No, my push-ups. How many
do you owe me?
50?
50. We have 50.
I'm pretty sure
Bracky.
We'll get you your damn push-ups.
Yeah. When you come to Austin, you can. No,
I think the deal was live on air. I mean, like if I had to push-ups, I'd be doing some dips in my chair or something.
I'm cashing
I can
out.
put the camera back.
I'm using these push-ups to negate the push-ups that you owe me. So now we.
That's a legend. That's a legend.
No, that's a fact. Kyle Hutter. I don't forget that one.
He should have been All-American. Why did he let us down?
Tyler, we're good to go. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening.
I guess we'll see you tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow and Friday. Askren's probably gonna send us some sort of an invoice for 4 days this week. But you know what?
I did miss the hip week. So
yeah, we had the hip week. So it's all good. We thank you guys so much for listening. Tomorrow is Beat the Streets. Hopefully some good announcements coming either tomorrow or Friday that Ben doesn't know about, and I think he'll be excited.
Uh-oh.
I don't know
What, you
if
guys
Bracky
keeping
even
something
knows.
for me?
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we'll
I'm
let
not
you know.
even sure I know what he's talking about right
Yeah,
now.
wait, he does. Bracky, you do know,
Oh,
I think.
okay.
All right. So, hey, thanks a lot. See you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday. Let's go eat some breakfast food, Bracky. Later.
Dude.